What is going on, my fellow navigators, and welcome back to another video. Today's discussion is going to be all around how you can be a collector in the age of Pokemon card scalpers. Now, I've been getting this question a lot over the last few weeks, especially since the release of Champion's Path. Many people are finding that in places like Target, Walmart, even upon the day of release of this new set, that they weren't able to find any new products. And one of the big problems in that is that we have this proliferation of what we now know as scalpers. So today's discussion is going to be all around basically what a scalper is, what that term refers to, and how you can avoid paying some of these premium prices that you see on the secondary market, and how scalpers are cornering that market and really targeting some people who aren't familiar with other distribution channels. And then I'm going to provide you with some other options that you can get products at MSRP or market value. And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and finish up with what you can do as a collector or an investor to help mitigate scalpers within the community. But before we get started, guys, you know what to do. Go ahead and give me that double slap attack. One for that like button, one for that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified each and every time one of these videos drops, go ahead and thunder punch that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into today's discussion on how to be a collector in the age of Pokemon card scalping. Now, let me just go ahead and back up real quick and kind of set a precedence for the reason I wanted to do this video. So really, since the release of Champion's Path, but really going back into several sets, even into last year, to Hidden Fate, some of the bigger sets that we saw in 2019, we started to see this proliferation in products being very, very limited. And I will admit that scalping is a big part of this problem, and I'm going to get exactly into what a scalper is and what that represents. But I do want to also mention in this video that one of the reasons that we're not seeing as many products out on shelves is that we are in a unique position in 2020, in that we have the pandemic, which is still going on, and that has caused a lot of the workforce to not be there and being able to push out products like they have in the past. So that is another big reason why you're not seeing quite the supply of product out on shelves, and why it is more difficult to get, especially with a set like Champion's Path, which has been very hyped up and is very popular. We just didn't have the same kind of manpower to produce these products like we have in the past. But with that being said, there is still this problem of scalping Pokemon cards. So let's go ahead and jump right into exactly what a scalper is. So scalping, really in a general sense, can be kind of a good and a bad thing depending upon what industry you're talking about. For instance, when I was a financial advisor, and when we refer to scalping within the financial markets, we're actually talking about a very legitimate strategy that traders use. And it's basically when they go in and purchase a large number of shares that are sold for a gain on a very small price movement. So they basically lock in a really vast amount of shares, sometimes right when a stock may go public, and then they're basically hoping for a very small price movement, and they're okay with that. They're okay even if it goes up a couple cents, because they've purchased a vast quantity of shares. Sometimes anywhere between like 3,000 to 14,000 shares is usually what you'll see in this particular strategy. So they're just looking for a small price movement there, but it is a legitimate strategies. And there's other different types of strategies that you can use in trading when it comes to scalping, but that is really the most analogous that I know of when it comes to Pokemon cards. Now, on the other side of the coin, when we're talking about scalping in regards to Pokemon, typically what you see is someone that has some type of foreknowledge. Maybe they know somebody at, let's say, a Walmart or a Target, or pick your name of any large retailer out there that stocks trading cards in general. Maybe they know somebody and they know when this shipment is going to come in, especially for a new set that is dropping. And essentially what they do is they go in to the store and buy up as many products as they can, which essentially leaves none or very few for the rest of the consumer base, at least in that area. And essentially what they've done is they've cornered the market on this particular product, and they've done so with the hopes that that product is going to increase in price in the short term. And because they've bought up most of the supply, that is therefore going to drive up the demand, and then they will resell these products on the secondary market at a premium. So, although there's similarities to this with the, legitimate practice of what we know as scalping in the financial world, the big difference here is that when traders are trading in stocks and stock prices, this has little to no subjective meaning to the trader. They're simply going in, they're trying to lock in some gains on some financial assets. However, when it comes to Pokemon, although it can be an investment and it can be a business, and you can utilize different tactics to grow your business, there's also a segment of the market that are strictly collectors, and especially when we're talking about younger collectors out there, these kids or others out there that simply want to collect cards or maybe play with these cards competitively, you are limiting the market for these individuals to be able to do so. And I've said it before on this channel that for me, I became an investor really for the sole purpose of kind of circumnavigating back around to ultimately be a collector, because that's ultimately what I enjoy most, is collecting Pokemon cards and holding on to them for the long term. And that's the real big problem with scalpers, is that you're essentially eliminating that whole segment of the hobby. The people that just would like to collect cards for the enjoyment of it. They have no reason to get into the hobby for any financial gains. They simply are doing it for the love of the hobby. And that is also the other unique thing about Pokemon, is that you can be an investor, you can be a collector, you can really bring both of those passions together into the hobby. So no matter what you enjoy most, or if you enjoy both at the same time, you have a legitimate means of being able to pursue that. But when we have nefarious people like scalpers out there that are in it strictly for the financial gain and to really eliminate and take away from that whole side of the collecting world, then it does present a big problem in my eyes. And as I said, there's other factors contributing to this this year in 2020 that we haven't seen in the past. But this this problem of scalping Pokemon cards, I think, definitely has to be addressed, especially now that product is more in limited supply. So that, in a nutshell, is essentially what scalping is. And it really leads me on into my next topic here that I'd like to discuss. And it's strategies that I would recommend that you guys can utilize to go ahead and avoid paying premiums from these scalpers on the secondary market. So one of the big things that I've talked about, over the course of my involvement back into the Pokemon hobby, and whether it be investing or collecting, one of the big things that I've proposed that people do is have relationships, have good business relationships, collecting relationships. I think this is vital to not only the health of the hobby, but also to your overall success, whether you're an investor or a collector. And one of the ways that I've found that you can avoid buying these products on the secondary market at a premium is that I would recommend establishing a relationship with your local card game shops. So, try to find card game shops that are maybe within a 50-mile radius of where you live, and go in and talk to the business owners of these establishments. I found this invaluable, whether I was, wanting to get a particular product to invest in or to collect. These people are really vital resources, because for the most part, when a product hits the market, when a new set drops, the first place that many people are going to go, including scalpers, are to the big retail stores. So, the Targets, the Walmarts, wherever. However, with card game shops, if somebody tried to go in and buy up their entire supply, chances are, if it's a good owner of that business, they're not going to allow that to happen. And I found that, at least in my immediate area, that these card game shop owners would never allow that to happen, because they want other people to be able to enjoy the products that they are offering. Whereas, a place like Walmart or Target, they are getting better at it. They are limiting some of the products that you can actually purchase, especially in 2020, with many of these being more limited in supply. They are getting better in that regard, but they don't have the same oversight, and they don't have the same kind of responsibility, I think, to their individual customers that a small business owner, in this case a card game shop owner, would have. So I would highly recommend establishing relationships with your local card game shops. And, these business owners can be really invaluable to you. I've utilized several, and it's not just in the Phoenix metro area where I live, but almost more important than that is in rural communities. So I have several card game shops that I work with up in northern Arizona, where I'm originally from. Now, these areas are a lot smaller than the Phoenix area in which I live. Some of these communities are a few thousand people, and they don't have the same type of demand and the same kind of notoriety around Pokemon that you would have in the bigger cities. So if many of you out there, if you live in a big city, but maybe you've got some rural areas near you that are within a decent driving distance, maybe venture out and check out these card game shops as well, because chances are you'll have a much greater chance of being able to get these products when they are released at some of these more rural card game shops than what you would have in the bigger cities. One of the other big reasons that I would recommend establishing a relationship with a local card game shop is, even if that particular business owner and that business cannot get you those products, they may be able to connect you with a distributor that you can go to in the future. Now, typically with distributors, they are only going to sell to individuals that are going to be buying large quantities of products. So I have myself dealt with distributors in the past. I've worked with them, but as I sort of trickled off, and the amount of money that I was actually investing in Pokemon cards and the amount that I was actually utilizing for my own collection, as that became smaller and smaller, I started to migrate away from that and just kind of deal with individuals more on a one-on-one basis, rather than going the route of a distributor. But this is also a good option for any of you out there that are wanting to buy in larger quantities, and it's also a good opportunity to get in on pre-release prices. So many of those pre-release prices, as you know, are going to be cheaper than what you'll actually find when the product is released in stores. So that presents another good opportunity for many of you out there as well. Now, if neither of those two options necessarily work for you, maybe you don't have a local card game shop near you, or within a decent driving distance, or it's just kind of out of the question, and you don't have the means of connecting with a distributor, the other option that I would provide to you and recommend that you would be able to pick products up at their market value, or MSRP, would be to just allow for some time to pass after the initial releases of these products. So as we've seen with Champion's Path, yes, upon its initial release, within a few days, this product has been pretty difficult to come by unless you're able to purchase, Champion's Path through other means, as I've mentioned. But if you just give it a little bit of time with all of these new releases, there's always either a restock or a second wave of products that come out. So we already know that with Champion's Path, the Elite Trainer boxes, the pin collections, we are going to be getting a second wave later on this month. Now, that doesn't mean that the scalpers, and some of these more nefarious people, that they're going to go right back out during the second wave and try to buy up all these products again. But I do think that with most products, with most sets, there will be a restock that happens. So you just have to be vigilant. You have to keep an eye out, and maybe also connect with maybe a manager or a department manager at some of these bigger stores so that they can let you know when they plan on restocking these products or when they plan on getting other shipments in. And then maybe you yourself can get in there and try to pick up some products right away before some of the other people, especially nefarious people, have come in and tried to swoop them all up. So really, in this case, if neither of those first two options are working for you, I would recommend just giving it a little time. And especially with these holiday sets, I think that we're going to see a few waves, especially of Champion's Path, especially due to its popularity. I think we'll see more waves of this. And you might even want to wait until around Black Friday. So even if we look towards last year and we look at Hidden Fates, even though that set was wildly popular, when it came to Black Friday, I still remember those Hidden Fates tins going for around $10 per tin. So just remember, Pokemon as a company and a lot of these retail stores, that is their big time of the year. Really all of the holiday season, but especially based from Black Friday to Christmas, that is the largest time span for them generating revenue. So they are going to make sure that their stock is adequately supplied. So, with Champion's Path in particular, just give it a little time. Maybe even wait until around Black Friday, and you might not just be able to pick up product, but be able to pick up product at a discounted rate compared to what they're going for now. So now that we've discussed some of the options and strategies that you can utilize to avoid paying these premium prices on products that many scalpers are charging on the secondary market, what I want to do is ask you guys and really request from you what I think you can do to help mitigate scalpers in the hobby itself. And one of the things that I would recommend doing is, I had mentioned pre-releases out there, and if any of you out there are able to get your hands on pre-release products, and maybe you've got plenty of product at your disposal, and you've gotten these products at discounts, what I would recommend doing is go ahead and sell these products back to other people on the secondary market at the current MSRP. So what they would find normally in stores. And I know, this may be a difficult thing to ask. I've done it myself before. And I think it's just a healthy way of injecting, good positivity back into the hobby. If you're able to help out maybe a younger kid or someone else out there that just simply, it may be very tight for them to actually afford these products in the first place, especially now that we're getting into the holiday season. There's a lot of people out there that I think would love to have many of these products, but simply can't afford the premiums that are being charged on the secondary market. So if any of you out there do have plenty of these products at your disposal, maybe you were able to get those pre-releases, maybe you were able to get cases of the ETBs of Champion's Path or the pin collections of Champion's Path, and you've got a lot left over, go ahead and sell those products back at MSRP so someone else in the hobby can enjoy those products as well. And realistically, I mean, you're still making a profit on the product itself. Yeah, maybe it's not much. Maybe you got a 10% discount by pre-ordering, or a 5% discount. So, maybe in the end, you make 10 bucks on selling it back, but at MSRP. But I think more important than that, guys, is that we want to make sure that we're keeping the hobby healthy and, not eliminating a segment of people from this market. And this is the last thing that I want to go ahead and mention here. Many of you out there are probably of the same generation as myself. Many of you probably started with Generation 1 Pokemon. Many probably started in the late 90s, early 2000s. And you probably remember we didn't have this same problem back then. We didn't have people investing in Pokemon cards. We didn't have people speculating on Pokemon cards. We didn't have people scalping Pokemon cards and trying to sell them on the secondary market. I mean, back then, I don't even know if eBay and some of these other resources were even a thing. And so we didn't have the same kind of difficulties and the same kind of tribulations that many people are experiencing nowadays in trying to buy Pokemon card products, and especially for the younger generations coming up. And ultimately, guys, my goal as part of this channel and as part of my outreach to all of you, I not only want to help you guys to be, great investors and make smart investing decisions, or, to be able to be a great collector and be able to garner a collection that is meaningful to you, but I also want us all to come together and be able to provide an outlet or a resource that can benefit the hobby in general, that can be a healthy, a healthy ray of sunshine to the hobby. And the only way that we can really do that is by helping each other out. So I ask that of all of you out there, whether you're a content creator watching this, whether you're a big investor, big collector, or whether you're just the average person. If you have the opportunity to help out somebody else in the hobby, then I would say please go ahead and do so, because ultimately all that's going to do is create a longer lasting and enjoyable hobby for everyone, really for years to come. So that is going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for coming back each and every week. And as I said before, do your part to go ahead and help out the hobby, to make it last for the long term, and to really create a healthy and positive environment for everyone that's involved. Other than that, guys, I will see you all next time. My name is PokéNav. I'm here to help you navigate the world of Pokemon one video at a time, and I will see you all in the next video.